Hey Browns fans, welcome to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, I would have to say one of the things that we are thankful for this time of year is that the Browns, coming off of a big win, coming off of the bye, going on the road, and we feel like they should beat the Bengals.
It is nice to have a Thanksgiving week at this stage of the season where you're really, like you said, going on the road, expecting to win, and feeling good about yourself, wanting to finish the last 6 weeks strong.
Defenses really can make an impact by taking the ball away, and that really seems to be a point of emphasis. I can think of our DBs especially ripping the ball out, clubbing at the ball, getting it on the ground for those turnovers.
Exactly. I'll take it to another level. I actually think in today's NFL in 2018, it's imperative that the defenses take the ball away, because the way the rules are set up, you're right, offenses are going to move the ball. And if you're able to steal a few snaps and steal a few turnovers and actually get scores out of them, that definitely flips the field for you.
Yeah, and speaking of taking the ball away, that's something the Browns defensive backs have done very, very well this year. Part of that, the coaching of Dwayne Walker. We sit down with him in our Papa John's Play Breakdown. Here with Browns cornerbacks coach Dwayne Walker. And coach, obviously, it's been kind of an interesting season for your guys. A lot of injuries, etc., but a lot of big plays. This team, one of the best at taking the ball away. Your guys have been a big part of that.
Well, next man up. That's kind of our philosophy. So just try to make sure guys are prepared when situations like that occur.
All right, let's take a look at some of the highlights here from the first 10 weeks of the season. We'll start with Denzel Ward in his first ever game, getting an interception. You can just kind of talk us through what his responsibilities were and why this was such a special play.
Okay, it looks like we're playing cover 2 right here. And just great instincts on his part in terms of just reading the quarterback and just tracking the ball. So it's a nice job right here. We just tell him to hinge to get depth and width. He's reading the quarterback. And he just does a great job just reacting to the quarterback and just getting a nice jump on the ball and leaving his feet and just being a football player.
So does that say to you in his first game in the NFL, this guy's got great instincts because, his responsibility is the guy out there in the flat, and to come off of that and make that play, does that tell you, okay, I got something I can really work with here?
Well, I think it was great coaching, but no. No,
obviously.
But,
obviously.
Well, with coaching and instincts, that's a good, recipe. So it was good. He did exactly things that we practice, and his athletic ability just took off.
TJ Carey, a guy who's kind of been all over the field for you this year, making a big play that really kind of helped propel this team to that big win against the Falcons.
TJ, he's heavy-handed, so this is something that we try to drill, with Greg. He's real big on forcing fumbles, so he just hits that soft spot, and his intentions were good, and we're very, very fortunate to come up with a play.
Yeah, punches it out and recovers it, and you talk about that's been kind of a point of emphasis, and I'll go ahead and give you credit. Great coaching again, because your corners,
just a little bit.
Your corners have gotten the ball out a ton this year. How important is that in this day and age to be able to generate those kind of takeaways?
Well, it's a production league, and that's something we always talk about, just winning your targets, whether you have a target to make a tackle or a target to pick the ball off, a chance to force a fumble. So it's just when you get your opportunities, try to make the most of them.
You saw that he talked about Denzel Ward, the great instincts there. TJ Carey clubbing that ball out, as we talked about going into that segment, just how important it is. And then you speak of physicality. Jabril Peppers at the goal line, leveling Tevin Coleman when it looked like a sure touchdown. The defense with that goal line stand. When you have a goal line stand like that as a defense, what kind of mindset does that put you in?
Not only does it put the positive mindset for the defense, of course, but for the whole football team and your whole fan base. I love the way the coach is coaching them up to be physical and up front with them from the back side of it with the defensive backs.
Yeah, and Greg Williams preached that in training camp, that the defense would not give up those yards. They've had a number of great goal line stands so far this year. And we'll be back with more Browns All Access right after this. When we return, we go into the kitchen with Duke Johnson, and Andrew Gribble sits down with the man they call Six, Baker Mayfield. Welcome back to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside the legend, Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, I got to ask you, when you used to get that bye week, get a week away, what was a typical Bernie Kosar bye week like?
Well, I'm not saying this to sound funny or cool or somewhat old school prehistoric, but In the older days, I'm getting so old that at the beginning of my career, you didn't even have bye weeks. You just went straight through. But towards the end, middle of the career, towards the end, when you started getting bye weeks, from being somewhat of the older school and having kind of the Jimmy Johnsons and Howard Stellenbergers and Don Shula's kind of ingrained in your head, once the light switch went on for training camp in the middle of July, it was hard to flip it off. So even during a bye week, you really stayed in town. We didn't have as many days off. And typically, if you lost your game going into a bye week, it was a physically nightmare week of preparation during that bye week.
Well, now these guys get a little bit of time to go get some R&R, kind of heal the body, heal the mind, and Duke Johnson, no exception. We caught up with Duke Johnson in his kitchen, where he swapped the playbook for the cookbook. Learn more about our talented running back in this week's Player Spotlight, brought to you by Fifth Third Bank.
Cooking for me is just a hobby, something I like to do. Free time, spare time, especially in the off season. I try to cook at least 3 times a week. And when I cook 3 times a week, it's normally big portions, dessert, the whole 9 yards.
What are we making today?
I cooked chicken Alfredo pasta with spinach in it. That's one of my go-tos, definitely, because it's very simple, very easy to cook. It's not too time-consuming. I can get it done pretty fast.
Put in just enough to give it some color. I'm gonna stick it in the oven once it's finished.
I definitely want to be good at cooking. Like, I want to be the best I can be at cooking. And what's better than knowing how to cook yourself? You don't need anyone to cook. You don't need to go out to get food. Everything is here.
Now I'm gonna make the sauce Alfredo. Making a mess. Okay. Yeah, I hate my hands feeling gooey as I'm cooking. I'm always experimenting. My taste buds are really sensitive, so if I don't like something, I get sick immediately. Don't really have a measurement, or I had one at one point, but yep, I think we about ready. Everyone knows me as a football player. I like people to get to know the music part that I like and me as a cooker. Here we go. This is actually, it's not the hardest, but it can be. It's kind of an art. It looks good. It's the tasting part that's. There's lemon. You taste the lemon. Taste the lemon.
Can you just give yourself a score?
Out of what? Score out of what?
Like a grade. You can do like A, B, C.
Let's go.
B plus.
Let's go C minus.
Why?
I think the Alfredo could have been a little more Alfredo-y. It's more lemon than anything.
More cheese.
Mm-hmm. Very cheesy. Okay, y'all can cut the camera off. Y'all can try.
What's up? I'm Allie Raymond, and this is your Social Minute, where we show you the best of what happened on social media this week. Last week, we ended with our starting quarterback saying he woke up feeling dangerous. We circle back this week with a twist. Always Late with Katie Nolan rolled out this video this week.
Okay, woke up feeling dangerous. Woke woke up feeling dangerous.
The Cleveland Browns select.
We all know running back Duke Johnson has quite the fan club, and he doesn't have to look very far for his #1 fan, his mom. This week, Duke took to Instagram saying, "So, at the games, my mom takes pictures of anyone who she finds that has my jersey on. She has threatened me to pull the car over in the middle of the highway just to take pictures, LOL. I just want to say thank you to all of you for making her day. It really means a lot to us." And finally, Browns players and staff headed to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank to give back this holiday season. They packed and loaded trucks full of Thanksgiving meals. I'm Allie Raymond, and this was your Social Minute.
After the break, dangerous Baker Mayfield talks about how the offense is progressing this season, and defensive backs coach Dwayne Walker previews the Bengals. Welcome back to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, there is a huge reason for optimism about this team, not only over the final 6 games, but well into the future. And that reason wears number 6, Baker Mayfield. I know you love to talk about the quarterbacks. I'm sure you loved what you saw against the Falcons, but what do you want to see continue to improve over these final 6 games?
Well, there's no doubt being an ex-quarterback, I enjoy focusing in on the QB. And again, being a quarterback, I don't want to sound like a quarterback apologist or the marketing representative for Baker. Over the last 6 games, I think him just being himself, doing what he did against the Atlanta Falcons in the last few weeks of playing has been enough. If he could develop consistency with his outstanding play like the Falcons game, I think that's more than enough. And the ability, though, to get him to the end of the season healthy, I think is imperative for our organization.
Now, Baker is his own toughest critic, the guy who pushes himself to be great, a competitionaholic, and he sits down with our Sir Andrew Gribble in an exclusive one-on-one interview.
Hey, let's start with something special right here, man. Let's go.
I'm Andrew Gribble here with Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield. And Baker, first off, how's the body feeling after a week off?
Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Just a much needed break, and the timing of it was pretty nice late in the season.
Yeah, it certainly helps that you guys are coming off maybe one of the best performances this team's had in a few years.
It was definitely a good way to leave. There's a lot of the good things that we did, and so for us, it's about kind of reeling that back in and building on it, because we had talked about building on the good things we had been doing for the past couple weeks, and then we finally had that game we've all been waiting for, so now we need to continue that and be consistent.
Hey, one play at a time. Look at this drive, man. 92 yards right here.
You were mic'd up last week against the Falcons. The clips have kind of gone all over the place during the bye week. It kind of makes you seem like one of the most laid-back guys on the field. Where does that come from when you're out there just to keep it easy and flowing like that?
Laid back or half crazy, I don't know which one it is, but no, I just love playing ball. Anytime you get out there during a game day, it's just you work so hard for it. You work all week, and then you only have that 60-minute period where you get to play. So it's pretty important for me to be able to have fun with it and be able to relax and just go do my job.
Are you surprised by the reaction in your post-game comment about waking up feeling dangerous has had? I mean,
yeah, it blew up pretty quickly. I was a little bit taken back. So definitely anytime I was walking around during the bye week, somebody asked me how I felt, and I felt obligated to continue that on and say I was feeling dangerous.
I said I woke up feeling dangerous, son.
Now, when you got here, you immediately went and started talking smack to Greg Williams.
I told you, I'll be talking trash to you. And you know what? You have not met anybody that can talk it back as much as me. I'm looking forward to it.
He's now the head coach. How has that relationship kind of continued, and how have you seen the players respond to him in the locker room?
Yeah, it definitely could have been handled worse than it was, because I think everybody in the locker room stuck together. They used it to come together, and Greg's message was that we didn't need any more distractions. We needed to use that as kind of motivation. We're all we have, and we need to play for each other. And so they handled it really well, and I think Greg did a great job of making sure that was the message.
And with the upcoming opponent, the Bengals, with Hugh Jackson helping with the defense over there, does that change how you approach this game? No, absolutely not. I've always believed you can let people know what you're doing, but if you got to execute them, it doesn't matter. So,
it is what it is. It'll be fun to play against somebody that I've worked with, but we have to be able to go out there and execute and make the plays when we need them.
All right, Baker, thanks so much. Good luck Sunday in Cincinnati.
Appreciate it.
Bernie, you love to see Baker's confidence, and really he's playing that point guard role, distributing the ball. 9 different receivers caught passes against the Falcons on the season. 11 different players have scored touchdowns for this Browns team. When you have that kind of diversity, what does that say to you?
Well, again, to stay on my Baker compliments right now, it definitely shows that Baker's not playing like a rookie, being able to spread the ball around. And it's showing that younger people are taking on that opportunity, that challenge to become playmakers and get the ball in the end zone.
I love this quote from Joel Bitonio. He said, "It's not everything that we have, Baker Mayfield, but it's everything." And so that is one of the reasons you as a Brown fan should be excited about Baker, the future, and what we can do here over these final 6 games. We'll be back to preview the Bengals and much, much more when Browns All Access returns. Nick Chubb's 92-yard hasta la vista, baby, touchdown run against the Falcons was the longest rushing play in Cleveland Browns history. What player previously held that honor? Is the answer A, Bobby Mitchell, B, Ernest Biner, C, the GOAT Jim Brown, or D, Greg Pruitt? Find out when Browns All Access returns. Nick Chubb's 92-yard touchdown run against the Falcons was the longest rushing play in Cleveland Browns history. Now, what player previously held that honor? The answer is A, Bobby Mitchell. Mitchell's big day against the 1959 Washington Redskins was started off by a 90-yard touchdown scamper in the first quarter. He ended the day with 3 total touchdowns, and the Browns went on to defeat the Redskins by the score of 31-17. Welcome back to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, we talked about the DBs earlier in the show, but they've had a heck of a run this year. You start off the season with Antonio Brown. The last 3 weeks alone going into this one, you've got Tyreek Hill and the high-flying Chiefs, Julio Jones, the high-flying Falcons, and now, of course, it looks like A.J. Green could be back for the Bengals. That is a tough road to hoe. You still have DeAndre Hopkins to come for these defensive backs.
It's absolutely a tough road to go down and be productive in, which we have. And take it a step further, to the credit of John Dorsey and the personnel staff, we've also had a lot of injuries back on the back end of the defense, and to have guys that are able to also step in and replace some of the starters and still play at a high level, and to keep that level of defensive play and that intensity with getting results has been impressive.
It certainly has, and I think John Dorsey came in and priority number 1 after getting the quarterback was remaking this defensive backfield. The Browns had 5 new starters at all 5 positions in the defensive backfield. You talked about the depth filling in for the injuries. Well, the man who's been coaching them up, Dwayne Walker, was nice enough to sit down with us for an exclusive one-on-one. Coach, your room responsible for so many turnovers this year, and I know that's probably been a lot of fun for you and a lot of fun for those guys, but I think, it's been a real group effort, but you've had to have so many people play this year. How has it been for you managing that throughout this season?
I'm real big on the process, so this is something that we started day 1 in OTAs in terms of some of our goals and some of the things that we wanted to try to accomplish as a group. Unfortunately, you get guys get hurt, and you just have to make sure that they understand next man up, and you don't ever want to lose what momentum you have. So we really talk a lot about that, and it's pretty cool to see guys step up and take up some of the slack through some of the injuries that we've had.
Well, one real consistent for you has been rookie Denzel Ward, who's had an unbelievable rookie season. What's something about Denzel that would maybe surprise the average Browns fan?
Well, I know coming to the season, that was a big question, his durability. And the thing with him, he's just the same guy every day. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. When you watch him on the game, he has his own seat. So, when the offense is on the field, he goes to his little spot, and everybody else is walking around. So he just has a pretty calm demeanor, and I think that says a lot about him as a young player.
Is he superstitious that he likes to have that seat, or does he just like to have the same process all the time?
I've never asked him, but it's the same seat. Sometimes I may be sitting in there, he kind of give me a look, then I have to get up so he can sit down. But it's kind of fun just watching him kind of progress and just, seeing his maturity as a young player.
Who's the best trash talker in your room?
Damaris Randall might be hard to beat. Damaris is always the one that always got something to say. So I'm always teasing him. What now, Demarius?
What has he meant to this team? Going from free safety, playing corner for you guys when he went down to Tampa, matching up with Mike Evans, just kind of what he's brought to this defense.
He keeps the room loose. He understands the complexity of our room, and if receivers get behind us or if we miss a tackle, it can turn into a touchdown. So he's real good for our room. He just keeps it loose, not too serious.
What are your goals over the final 6 games?
Just not giving up big plays, because usually big plays in our room results into touchdowns. So, or it's going to change the momentum of a game. So we take a lot of pride in, hey, let's not create any momentum for the opponent, and let's not give up big plays that's going to hurt our team.
Now, Bernie, those guys on the back end, they give you a lot of confidence in this matchup, but really, I think it's the way the Browns are playing, which is good. Last time we saw them, the Bengals have lost 4 of their last 5. That's got to make you think we can go into Cincinnati, end this winless streak on the road, and string together consecutive wins for the first time in too long.
Good physical defense travels on the road, and a good physical offensive line travels on the road. As much as I like to talk about the back end and our defensive backs, like the last segment, how we play physical from the defensive line, how we play physical from the offensive line, I think we are able to come out of Cincinnati with our first road W this year.
Which would be fantastic, and it's going to come from the offense, I think, because this Bengals team is basically last in the league in every single defensive category. The Browns have to take advantage of that. Now, for the latest on your Browns, keep it tuned to cleanbrowns.com, the Browns mobile app, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for the latest on this man, check out Kosar19.com. For Bernie Kosar, I'm Nathan Zegura saying thanks for watching Browns All Access, and let's go Browns.